Hey guys, this is North back again with another video. Today's video, I'm going to give you my top 5 rose-based fragrances of 2021. So this has been a video I've been wanting to do for a while, trying to get my list together. I was thinking to myself, I didn't have 10 rose-dominant fragrances when I try to do these lists. I try to get something that's just dominant in the particular scent, and not something that just happens to have the note itself. So these are rose dominant scents. The main player in these fragrances are rose. So I'll give you my current top 5 of 2021, and then I'll give you 3 honorable mentions at the end because I didn't have 10, I don't think. So let's get it going. Number 5 on the list is coming from a house out of Saudi Arabia that doesn't get, much love in the niche or designer community because it might be hard to come by, but obviously where I live in the Middle East, there's almost as many as those shops as there are McDonald's. And so this is from the house of Abdul Quraishi, and this one is called Taif Rose. The cool thing about this one is that Taif Rose, you have Armand Jane, you have a couple other fragrance houses that name their fragrances Taif. But what's cool about this is that this is a house that is based out of Saudi Arabia. It's a historic house, supposedly, that's based out of Saudi Arabia, and the Taif Rose is from a particular area called Taif in Saudi Arabia. There at the shops you can buy, of course, pure oud attar oil. You can buy pure oud oil, but you can also buy pure Taif Rose oil. There's different levels. Some of them may be 80,000 flowers that were used to make the oil, and up and up and up. Hundreds of thousands of flowers that are meant to make this particular oil. And this particular fragrance does smell exactly like that. Now on the website, it does list bergamot, Taif Rose, of course, lavender, lilac, and cedarwood as some of the notes. This one, when I spray it, it smells exactly like the Taif Rose essential oil that you can buy, like a half tola or a tola of. And the cool thing about that, like I said, this is from the Wheelhouse collection, and this doesn't seem to be readily available online. A lot of people, you never hear about it. I've mentioned it a couple times in a couple of my previous videos, but there's 2 iterations of it. There's this one, Taif Rose with the flower on the top, and then there's this one from the Wheelhouse collection. The scent is the same, but you might be able to get this one. If you can't get this one, you can get this one. This is a 100 ml bottle. This is a 50 ml bottle. So this one comes in at number 5 just because it's a straight up rose scent. With the Taif Rose essential oil, for example, it starts out pretty sharp and green, and then it mellows out and becomes a little bit sweeter, but I don't really pick up too many other notes. When I put the oil on, the pure oil on, it smells the same as this one. So that's number 5. There's no release on it, and that's Taif Rose from Abdul Quraishi. 4 on my list is from the house of Monte Carlo. This is a house that I just recently purchased my first purchase from, and that was this one. And this one, ironically, is called Rose de Taif. This is the Extrait. They do have Rose de Taif in the Eau de Parfum concentration. This is the Extrait. This one was released in 2015. And some of the notes in this are lemon, elemi, Taif Rose, Damask Rose, Patchouli, Peru Balsam, and Cedar. Now this one, it opens up big and floral with rose, and then when it starts to dry down, you do pick up a lot of the woods and the resins, like the balsams and a little bit of the patchoulis. But this is a great scent. It does last a long time because it's an Extrait, but it's definitely almost completely different. The opening is almost completely different from the dry down. It's not just rose. It is mixed. It is still rose dominant, but you pick up a lot more other things in it than, say, the one that I previously mentioned. So from the house of Paris, Monte Carlo, this is Rose de Taif. Number 3 on my list is one I wasn't sure when or if I was going to pick up another fragrance from this house, because the first one I got almost, just kind of blew me away, and I just was hesitant to pick up on a bunch of other ones. There's just too many houses to choose from, and this is from the house of Stéphane Humbert Lucas, and this one is called Rose de Petra. Rose de Petra. So this is named after the area in Jordan, Petra, with the old school building that's carved into the rock. And so this one has rose, lychee, pomegranate, Bulgarian rose, cardamom, cumin, and pepper. So this particular one is a slightly spicy, powdery rose. It does open up with some spices. It's not overly spicy, and the rose is definitely dominant in there. And when it dries down, it's just one of the most unique rose scents that I've smelled. I do like it. My only complaint is probably I wish it was an Extrait, or I wish it had more projection. I wish it had more oil in it, because as you see, I pretty much only wore it once so that I can get a good wearing of it, and that's how much I've used of it already. So I either wish it came in a bigger bottle, or I wish it came in a stronger concentration. But this is probably the most unique rose scent that is in my collection. What I did just notice is that the gem that comes in the middle has come off, but I guess in transit it's come off, but oh well. What's more important is the juice, and this is coming in at number 3, Rose de Petra from Stéphane Humbert Lucas. Number 2 on my list is the fragrance that I wore on my wedding day. This one is not the first rose fragrance that I bought. It probably maybe was like the second or the third, but it was one that I felt like I had to pick up when I started watching reviews and things like that, because it was a rose fragrance that was targeted towards men. And this is Lyric Man from the house of Amouage. This one was released in 2008. This one has bergamot, rose, saffron, orange blossom, nutmeg, incense, sandalwood, and vanilla as some of the notes. This one is just a great scent, of course. It's like a powdery rose, maybe the saffron. This is very unique as well. This is something that I don't have anything else that smells like it. It's a rosy scent that is just has so many other players in it, but it's definitely a rose scent. It's not something with rose. It's a rose scent with a bunch of other accents. But now that I'm smelling it again, it's almost a little bit, I don't know. This and Rose de Petra are very unique rose scents, fragrances in it, but this did not make my number 1, unfortunately. So let's get to the number 1. But number 2 is Lyric Man from the house of Amouage. The number 1 rose base fragrance on my list is from the house of Jovoy. I just did a review on this, and this is Rose Millésime. But again, this is from Jovoy Paris. This one was released in 2017. This one has Centifolia rose, as white musk, Bulgarian rose, candied apples, and clove. Now this one is the jammiest rose I have ever smelled. It's just so sweet, and it's almost like a gourmand, but not quite. But it's just a beautiful rose scent. I think that it's unisex in my opinion. This is an Extrait de Parfum, so it does project very good. It does last all day. When you get wafts of it, if you like rose-based scents, you're gonna say, man, I smell good. And that's how I feel when I wear this scent. As I said in my video reviewing this was the first fragrance that I purchased from Jovoy Paris. This was the first one that actually spoke to me. And so again, this one is my number 1, Rose Millésime. And that's pretty much it. That's my top 5. Now the 3 honorable mentions on the list. 2 of them could have made the list, but I did not put them on the list because I wanted to have 5 fragrances that people could go out and make a purchase, you know? So I'll mention the discontinued ones first. So 2 of them are discontinued, and one is Calligraphy Rose by Hermes. All right, so Calligraphy Rose, this one was released in 2013. This one has saffron, honeysuckle, Turkish rose, myrrh, styrax, and frankincense as some of the notes. This one to me is just like a really powdery rose. This is a great rose scent. It doesn't remind me of any of the other ones, but it is a powdery scent. And almost, what is it? It doesn't remind me of any of the other ones. So we have Calligraphy Rose by Hermes. The next one is from the Armani Privé line. This was on my top 5 Armani Privé, and this is Rose d'Herbe. This is called L'Or du Desert. So or is gold. So this has like gold flakes in it. It's supposed to be gold sand. And so this one, as I said in my previous video, this one is different from the normal Rose d'Herbe that's in the black bottle. When I first spoke about it, I wasn't 100% sure, but the note breakdown on Fragrantica mentioned oud. This one doesn't mention oud, it does mention woody notes. So I was able to go out to Bloomingdale's and I tested Rose d'Herbe, and the openings are almost exactly the same. So when I smelt it, I thought I was going to come on here and have like a retraction saying that they were exactly the same scent, but they're not. This one again is rose and saffron. It stays sweet the entire time. The opening on Rose d'Herbe is very similar to this, but as it dries down, the oud starts to come out, and it's not a skanky oud, it's a like commercial industrial oud that you would find at like Oud Royale or other oud scents for people that don't like oud. But it's a very pleasant scent, but it is not the same. So I'm glad to be able to tell you that, but I'm not glad to tell you that this one is extremely hard to find. So that's why I didn't make my top 5, but it is a top 5 worthy rose fragrance. Last one on my list, I believe, might be my first rose-based fragrance that I've ever purchased. I don't think it's my first Jo Malone, but it's up there. I got this when I very first started collecting fragrances. And so this started my love with Jo Malone, and this one is called Red Roses. As you see, it's pretty much gone. Got a few sprays left, but I've had this for a number of years. With these are eau de cologne, so you sort of have to go crazy on the trigger with it. But this has good longevity. It has good projection on it. This one was released in 2001. This one has lemon and mint, Bulgarian rose, and it has beeswax in it. So it's a sweet rose scent, one that's good to be worn in the summertime or the spring. This is when I like to wear this one. So this one didn't make the top 5, but I didn't have 10, so it definitely would have been on my top 10. I do love this fragrance. And so those are my last of the honorable mentions. I do want to thank you guys for tuning in. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Do you like rose-based fragrances? Do you think rose fragrances are unisex? Are they more for women or are they more for men? What are your favorite rose-based fragrances? I do want to try to check out some ones in the future. I don't know if anything for me will beat Rose Millésime, but we shall see. So yeah, drop a comment. Let me know what you think about rose-based fragrances. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.